Awesome. Welcome back to the So There I Was podcast. Got a special guest today, Michael Molinksi. Michael's a former Marine who's, to say he's done a lot since he got out, it's an understatement. He's done a lot of businesses. Obviously, he's a photographer, was a combat photographer for the Marines, and then he's done some inventing. So lots of fun stories to go with there. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, Travis, thanks for having me. Yeah, I've done quite a few things. We can talk about anything and everything. Right before we hit record, we touched on transitioning out. I mean, if we want to talk about that, or we can just go back
Absolutely.
into my backstory when I was
Yeah,
in the
let's
Marines.
let's kind of just, when did you serve, and where, and what'd you do?
So I was, like I said, in the Marine Corps, and I enlisted in 2001, the summer before 9/11.
Okay.
So I was that kid in high school who graduated and goes, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life, so let me just buy 5 or 4 more years and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do, right? So I enlisted that summer, and then, as we all know, World Trade Center went down. I'm from New York, upstate. I'm only 2 hours away. My dad works down there, did construction. He's retired now. But yeah, all that stuff happened, and it got real fast. And ended up going to Paris Island, and then my job title was actually graphic designer. So I'm a pogue, a person other than grunt, for all those out there.
We
And
won't hold that against you, or being a Marine, either way.
yeah. I still got the jarhead look. I've been rocking it for 25 years. But yeah, I was a graphic designer, and I got stationed right back at Paris Island, where we make Marines. So I was in charge of all of the training aids and everything, that a recruit or a drill instructor, pretty much anything that was a visual aid of any
Right.
sort on that base. That's what my unit did. And then after a couple of years, they sent me back to my MOS school because a billet opened up for a photographer. And they're like, you want to do that? You can have 2 MOSs. And I was like, sure, this was great. And
Heck yeah.
went back to the same MOS school. And there I was the only Marine. So I was at Fort Meade in Maryland at the Defense Information School.
Oh,
And
yeah.
got heckled a lot by every Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel. The only people that didn't pick on us were the Coast Guards, because we shared a barracks, so they were cool.
Right.
But yeah, I ended up I was distinguished honor grad out of that class, and
Nice.
that's when I knew I was going to be a photographer, like, for the rest of my life. It was still an art form. I've always been an artist, and I felt like there's less cooks in the kitchen. You can kind of just
Yeah.
there's the photo, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just design something for somebody and have all these years of experience, and then then the client's like, "What if we changed it to green?"
Is that Calibri? How dare you?
Yeah. So I knew photo was where it's at for me, and then I did my 4 years. I got out. I was a E5 when I got out, and started life all over again.
Okay. That's sorry. Just for those who are listening, my son's autistic, and he likes to eavesdrop on these podcasts. It's good times. It's funny you go to Fort Meade to go to the photography school. Is anytime there's those joint schools, they're always fun because you have predominantly Army in most of those schools. We the biggest branch have more money and all that kind of stuff. And
Money, yeah.
and it's so funny when other branches show up and they win honor grad. You're like, we probably shouldn't do that. They should so because we had that when I was in the LG career course, we had I think 6 or 7 Marines, and I think they were all 6 of them were in the top 15, 20 of the class. It's like, oh, this is not a good look for us. It's a very good look for them.
Different breed, man. Especially when we're the smallest branch, and we go to a place where we're outnumbered. It's like, well, you better shine because you're representing all of the Corps at all times.
It's a very true statement. Those meetings were great though, because it was interesting. It's not to talk about me by any means, but it was the different viewpoints of what they knew coming in, because Marines are on ships. And so it wasn't fair. They showed up, and we have all this classes on ship movement and everything. We're like, what the crap? I come from a HIMARS unit. We don't have ships. And so the Marines had that class. They rocked us because they were all of them had been on ships for a long time.
The Department of the Navy. I mean, we're taught all that stuff even in basic training.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. They taught classes to us about how ships maneuver. I'm like, well, this is weird. So it's kind of fun how it all worked out. So where did you deploy it all in there? I mean, that's the mega time of deployments there.
I know, right? And when you're 18, 19 years old and you're bulletproof and invincible, it's like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get deployed. So being at a non-deployable base,
Right.
I figured I would just work my ass off and then show my higher ups that like, I'm good to go and I can get out there and get deployed and all that stuff. So let's see, it was like the second year I was there, I got Marine of the Year. So we did the boards. I don't know if you guys have like
Oh yeah.
competition
Oh
boards
yeah.
in the Army. Yeah.
Soldier of the year
So
and all that.
yep. So in 2003, I got Marine of the Year for all E3s and below. And then I used that to leverage into getting a meritorious corporal promotion. Then I got NCO of the quarter, and then I got NCO of the year the following year, and then I got a meritorious sergeant. So I was E5 in 2.5 years enlistment, which is pretty rare. Like,
Pretty fast
I
in the Marine
mean,
Corps.
yeah, it's usually like 5, 6 years to
Yeah.
to get that. And yeah, I was like, hell yeah! I was like, hopefully I can pick whatever I want to do. And then our chief warrant officer was like, why are we going to send you to Iraq to get shot at when you do the work of like 3 people? It's like, makes sense from a management point of view. It's like, damn it. So if I was a shitbird, then I guess I could have gotten deployed. Whatever.
Your logic is too good for me.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I loved everything I did, and I really I spent a lot of time training. I was one of the first, if not the first, what we call it non-rate, an E3 to go
Yeah.
through the Marine Corps martial arts instructor course. So you got to be a corporal, an NCO, or above to do that. And I what was it, the like request mass, and it went through all the chain of command to make that happen. And this is kind of playing off of like that Marine of the Year thing. It's like, all right, I'm a go-getter. I want to do these things, experience these things, and they made it happen. They were like, all right, you're going to go in through this instructor course and do all the hand-to-hand combat. We got to get a pepper sprayed and maintain control of a
Oh
rubber
yeah.
rifle or a pistol and all that. And like, I don't know how the universe decided to work this out. When that opportunity came that I mentioned to go to photo school, that coincided with my
Such a course.
the instructor course. Yeah.
Oh
So they're like, all
no.
right, well, they're like, yeah, you got to go. You're going to ship out in like 2 weeks. And the graduation was 3 weeks away. So I
Son
was like,
of
we
a
can't delay. Yeah, I was like, we can't delay this. And they're like,
5 days.
no. So you got to make a decision. So I made the decision to go to photo school, but I also knew that I wasn't going to leave like my team behind, my class.
Yeah.
So I voluntarily went through the whole OC spray training thing,
Oh wow.
knowing I wasn't going to get the billet or the instructor stripe or anything. So I was just like asking for pain and suffering just to know,
There's a
just
word
to
for
let
that.
my teammate know that like, hey, I'm here with you guys, even though like I'm dropping the class.
Yeah.
So
Well, you
but
still got the knowledge though. That's the thing is,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just didn't have the instructor.
yeah, I mean, I think people do that all the time with any military school. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you can go to the super HUA schools, and you're in it for 80% of the time and you flunk out or get hurt or whatever, I'm like, you still get a lot of knowledge to
Yeah.
teach other soldiers or Marines or whatever, you know.
Yeah, the best thing about being on a training base is like you get to try everything. I went through all the combat water survival. I was like class
Yeah.
one, like just you're like you're a graphic designer and photographer. What do you need to know this for? I'm like, because it's awesome. That's
Yeah.
why.
I get good underwater pictures. Shut up. So
Yeah, exactly.
some of those are crazy. Like we had the photographers. I was in EOD school for a few weeks and flunked out. I can admit that. It's a really hard school, and those guys are crazy. you know, and but some of the shots they can get are awesome. Like it's like the whatever the I forget what the number is for the Army, but whenever that same MOS shows up, to take some
Yep.
shots in the school, anybody in the green EOD suit it's a good shot. You can't screw that up.
Yeah,
So
and it's funny. It's like we're like kind of chameleons because we're there to document the war effort and the training and
yeah,
everything, but we also have to know and do everything that you guys are doing. Everybody, their normal
right,
jobs. Like we got to know how that operates, so that way we're not in the way
yeah,
of things happening. And yeah, if the shit hits the fan, pick up a
yeah.
rifle.
But if you have a brown paper bag and you pop it behind the guy with the green suit, it's pretty funny. So it's
I will
it's
not try that.
it's a good laugh. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really good laugh. You have to change the uniform real quick, but it's a good time. So, well, so you did all that and you got out, and let's talk a little about kind of that transition. That's a for everybody. If you've done 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or in my case, did 20, getting out's a transition. That's kind of a challenge. Kind of what did you notice about yourself or learn about yourself back then?
Yeah, so I got out in '05, and we're still in like peak patriotism,
Peak,
like
peak.
the American flag. Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's an American flag on every other mailbox kind of
yeah,
thing. And I just thought I'd get out and like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a job anywhere. Like people are so, rah rah America,
right.
and it just wasn't the case. I wasn't getting emails, I wasn't getting callbacks. I tried to, and I'm looking for graphic design and photography. Like I'm reaching out to newspapers and magazines and print shops and whatever. If it had to do with visual media, like I'm just trying everything, and just nobody was hiring. So then I decided, I gotta start out for myself. I'm gonna take my career path into my own hands. And again, I'm only 22, 23 years old. I got a credit card for like 5 grand limit, and I maxed it out. And I was able to
Oh
buy
yeah,
one camera body and one lens, which is nothing in my
yeah.
industry. But I started out, and it just kind of trickled in after that. Being in a small town. Again, I'm in upstate. I'm just south of Albany. Um, so people like heard like, oh, Mike's out of the Marines. Oh, my mom's getting remarried. They don't want to spend a lot on a photographer, but hey, could you do it? And I'm like, yeah, kind
Got to
of
start
word of
somewhere.
mouth spread. Yeah. And then in '09, when my wife and we got married, we used our nest egg that, you kind of get from getting
Yeah,
married. And we had a decision. We're like, oh, we could pay off like the credit card. We put a lot of it on for the wedding ourselves. And then, like, or we can invest it in the business. And we went ahead and invested it into getting like a brick and mortar studio. And now that was, yeah, '09. So 15 years of being a professional studio owner. And
awesome.
I love it. Yeah. It's like, my kids now, like I got an 8 and 12-year-old, and wherever we go, whether it's the store, their school, whatever, I'm like,
Pictures.
hey, I'm like, you see that person? I did their wedding. Or like, oh, I did that cashier. I did that kid's senior photos and whatever. And I know, like, I get the biggest eye roll from my daughter, and I just do it to annoy her. But
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much I can't go out one day without running into a client. It's great.
And they're like, Dad, can I eat my spaghetti and not have 4 pictures of it? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's what my kids say to me with having an iPhone. It's just seriously, Dad. I'm like, hey, you're only a kid once. Leave me alone.
My son's teacher right now, his third grade teacher, I did her wedding. So I'm like,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
dude, sorry, you got to deal with it. There's no special breaks. It's like, if anything, you're gonna have it harder, because I'm gonna just I know her, and I'll tell her to, keep you
Oh yeah.
accountable.
Of course, exactly. So what,
Yeah.
being a Marine and or I know for me, kind of just like there's things that change. Like there's a transformation at any branch once you go through whatever basic training it is. On the back side of it, you're kind of a different person. Is that safe to say for you as well?
Well, yeah, that's definitely like an understatement
Yeah, that's a
for
short version.
me. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like just the Marines in general were like a self-selecting kind of crazy, kind of
Yeah.
did already enlist, into that branch. But I was a delinquent, in high
Okay.
school. I had a lot of energy. I was in the arts and all that, but like didn't want to do schoolwork, didn't want to do homework. If you can imagine, I had like 6-inch mohawk, and I had the big piercings with the
Yes.
holes in it.
But was it
I
purple?
was in,
That's the question.
yes, actually it was.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, yeah. I had purple hair, pink hair, bleach
Yes.
blonde, black hair. I had all that stuff. I was, I did punk scene, but also like heavy
Yeah.
metal, like, Deftones, Slipknot, stuff like
Oh yeah.
that.
That's the late '90s though, right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was into all that, and yeah, just on a whim, I joined the Marines. Like literally, the recruiter called me after sometime, maybe a week or so after graduation. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hello, like you woke me up. Like what? He's like, hey, can you come in at 3 o'clock for just for a talk for an interview? I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. I showed up at 2:45. He goes, oh, you're 15 minutes early, right on time. If that wasn't an omen, I was like, all right, whatever.
You're
And
gonna
I
fit in
literally
great.
signed. I signed up that day. Like, and I
Awesome.
was 17, so I needed my parents' permission. My dad was like, "When does he leave?" And my mom was just like, "Oh, please don't go,"
We get one
as
more
moms
day.
would do.
But was your hair in a mohawk when you went to the Marine? I gotta know. I was an Army recruiter, so I had some people walking by. I'm like,
No,
whoa.
I still had zero gauge. Like you put like a Bic pen through them,
Yeah, yeah.
and I got all the razzing. They're like, "Oh, is it a dick measuring contest?" I don't know if I can say that on here, or
Well,
whatever.
you just did, so we're
Edit
good.
it out if you need
So
to.
I'll put the E next to it and go from there. So
Yeah, yeah. But
is it,
no,
I,
it was great. I definitely like after I got out and I was doing all the odd jobs. One of them was substitute teacher at my old high school, and all the faculty are like, "What? Who are you? And what did you do with like the kid
where's
I used to
where's
know?"
Michael? That's
Yeah,
funny.
like all right, just to, my wife like was mortified when she heard these stories after we got together. But like
Oh yeah.
one of the things I did, late 2000s is also the Jackass era. So
Oh yeah. The beginning
I
of
made,
Jackass.
yeah, I made 48 deviled eggs in my cafeteria and sat down because
Mm,
you know how like a cafeteria's got like their own ecosystems, they're all spread out. I went to the one table in the middle where nobody would sit, so I was all by myself and I was like eating all these deviled eggs and they started taking notice and they're looking at me and they're like, "Oh, one more," and then people start chanting and I started getting like really full. I would hold it up and I'm like, "Ah," and like everyone would erupt in cheering. They're like, one more," and then all of a sudden I started like heaving and they started like chanting like puke, puke, puke,
yeah.
like
It
banging on
shifts
the
real
tables,
quick.
and I just let it all out and they erupted
Oh,
and I ended up getting kicked off the senior trip, suspended for a week, and then not allowed to eat in the large cafeteria for like a month. And
that's silly.
yeah, so I was like a goofball kid that would do nonsense things, but nothing was serious. Um, I wasn't like a armed robbery
Crime.
for people or
Yeah.
anything like that. But it's just juvenile
Yeah.
delinquency kind of goofball stuff.
That's
So,
straight
yeah,
up cold hand Luke right there though. Eating 50 boiled
yeah,
eggs. So
yeah.
I mean it's if
But
you're gonna
didn't
mimic
get them all
somebody,
down though.
I don't think he did either. He was having a hard time. That's rough. That's actually
Yeah,
hilarious stuff. You know,
yeah.
I think though I asked that question because I think that people go through that transition, like you're just describing from who you were to who you became and now who you are now. But like I've noticed from people I've talked to, like there's I call it the civilian military disconnect. I don't know what else to call it, but like, if you're sitting at a water fountain at the bank, and getting a drink and everyone's talking, oh man, did you watch the game last night? Or, oh man, we're kicking the soccer ball in the backyard, whatever. And like over here, you're like, for me, I was a paratrooper. It's like, man, I miss jumping out of a plane. It was a lot of fun being around, you just kind of knew like my favorite thing about being a paratrooper was that like I knew going to work that everyone was just as crazy as I am, you
Hmm.
know, and like I took comfort and I love that. And then like you go in the civilian world, I mean, you're in business of yourself, so am I, but in most places, it's like, I don't know if we can count on John. If it gets really crazy, I don't know if John's gonna he may flake out and not show up, And I think it causes this friction and it's hard to understand. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. It's there's definitely like that aspect to it. For me, the hardest part of my transition was loneliness because
Yeah.
I went from being a sergeant and in charge of 40, 50 people, and I could run PT and have 100 people under my belt and stuff. And then I'm literally a solopreneur on my
Oh well,
own.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really tough. And yeah, and it's like, they're like, "Oh, you can talk to these people or call this crisis hotline." It's like, I don't know if I can call crisis
Yeah.
hotline for this. It's just like, I'm bored, I'm by myself, and I did a lot of commuting down to New York City, and it's just like when you're on the train, again, with the military background, you're just, you want to pick the corner seat where you can look back and just
Yeah.
observe everything.
Yeah.
You're walking, you're running errands down the street, and there's a million people literally all around you, but you're walking, you got one eye looking at
Yeah.
the window in the reflections, and you're seeing if anybody's behind you, and like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't think it ever really goes away,
Right.
for better or worse.
Yeah. Well, I've always noticed that thing kind of for me has died down a little bit. But I haven't been shot at since 2007, so it's a little slower now. But I think the sense of humor, I think, is the only way to really. I mean, there's a dark humor within in the ranks, you
Yeah.
know, and like I know I received what I feel like at times was kind of a judgment or shame of Like, you shouldn't, you almost died. That's not funny. I'm like, oh, at the moment it was terrifying, but ever since then it's flat out hilarious, you know? And I think that part of it's just hard for people to grasp of like, why do y'all find almost near death hilarious, you know? And I think, Marines have a reputation for that as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put on my fake psychology hat, and I
Okay.
think a lot of that is like a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
because we, in general, I would say like any military person don't want to be perceived as weak,
Yeah.
in that vulnerability. So it's a mask. We can hide behind the humor and the laughs and all that
Very
stuff,
true.
but at the end of the day, it'll come out in different ways if you
Yeah.
don't let it
Deal with
come
it.
out. You know what I mean? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Oh, if you don't deal with it, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
yeah.
all funny,
So,
but I know like I've talked to plenty of guys that I got episodes I'm releasing next week. A guy that was on Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, um, the Green Ramp disaster, when the jet crashed into Green Ramp
mm,
and killed a bunch of people, hit a plane. It's terrible. And it was back in the mid 90s. And it's like, well, there's nothing funny about that except for the mission he was doing just before that. The training thing was hilarious. So he's like, I have this discord of memory of like a lot of fun immediately followed by a lot of terror. And so it's kind of we have these unique memories that a lot of them are like that, you know, where it's a whole lot of fun. And then it's like, oh, this sucks real quick, and a road
yeah.
march, road marches they suck. There's nothing good about them, but we all do them. But like, there's some of my funnest memories are on road marches.
Oh yeah, especially when the guy in front of you like starts sleepwalking and you just
Oh, it's
like
great.
you hit his backpack, you just go poop, hit the pack,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden poof, they're veering off into nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, open your
the
eyes,
best.
dummy.
So I'm 6'4", so I'm like, put me up front, and we're gone. And the guys in the back are like, please. I'm like, I'm just walking. This is my
I hate
normal
you.
pace.
This is the end of the podcast. I'm 5'6", so yeah, I was always at the tail end playing
Yeah,
slinky, like running back and
you're
forth.
just sprinting the whole way. You're like, this is a freaking
Yeah,
8 mile run
I
for
was
me.
usually like the crossing guard or the gear guard and stuff like that. So like I'm at my platoon, I was like one of the
That's the
smallest
worst.
guys. Yeah, so like I had to sprint ahead anyways to get the block off the road and nonsense. But I had a
Also,
couple tricks up my sleeve, and
I
I
was
made it
a
work for me.
I was a road guard in airborne school. I'm like, we already run everywhere we go. And there's like 15 stop signs from here to the training area. Like I'm doing like sprints just nonstop. I was in great shape for
Oh
back then.
yeah,
So, well, speaking about being in great shape, I got to ask about, I'll be remiss. So you did some crazy stuff. We call that a transition. And,
yeah.
but,
Everything's crazy.
yeah, I mean, one, I saw on your LinkedIn, your video submission for Ninja Warrior. That's awesome. So
Thank you.
we got to talk about that. So,
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I'm a small lanky guy, um, and when I got out, like I didn't have TV and all that stuff. Like I literally was just like building up my business, barely making ends meet. So I never had cable or anything like that. And then after my kids are born and all that, and I would say the 2014, 15-ish area, I started catching up on American Ninja Warrior. And like this show's been on for 8 seasons at this
yeah,
point, and I could do that. That'd be fun. And I literally just started training for it, and yeah, I mean, I'm built for that show. Like I have it. Like when I was in the Marines, I had the fastest obstacle course time. Like
yeah,
people couldn't hold a candle to me because I could just fly through it like a monkey.
yeah.
And yeah, so I still kept it going, and I
Nice.
submitted for the show. Never got on it because it's like it's a TV show first, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you got to
with the
have the
sad
backstory.
backstory. Yeah.
Right, right, yeah. So it's like, all right, I was never 600 pounds, right? I didn't lose weight. I didn't overcome cancer. I didn't,
On a dying grandmother.
yeah, I wasn't paralyzed and could walk again. It's like I'm a white male. I have a hot
I'm
blonde
a
wife, and I have
Marine.
2 kids, a boy and a girl. And it's like
They're both
BFD.
blonde hair,
Nobody cares.
blue eyed. Yeah. So,
Pretty, yeah, literally, yeah, or
yeah.
blue green eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I said, you know what? If I don't like, I can't let that be a limiter, right? I gotta. If I don't, the universe didn't give me a bad story. It's like I'll make a story. So
Right.
I told the casting agents, like, if you select me for the show, I'll ride my bicycle to wherever you guys are filming. And in 2019, I still didn't get a call back. But I was like, screw it, I'm gonna ride anyway. So I rode from where I was at to Baltimore, which is about 320 miles,
Yeah.
all self-supported. Rode my bike there and put hands on the course. They'd just gotten rid of the walk-on line, and they made it a lottery system. I was like, dang it! I was like, I just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
But I ended up talking to the producers and the people there, and they told me the story, and they're like, oh my god, this is it. You're in for next season. But next season was 2020, where COVID just ruined everything.
Yeah.
So I
crazy.
made a go of it. I did some local competitions. There's some leagues out there.
Yeah.
And then the one year I got really into it, I placed 35th for amateur males from 18 to 40 or 39, 18, 39. So yeah.
Bracket.
Yeah, it's like I got to go against kids. The kids
Yeah.
now, yeah, 18, 19 years old, and it's like, dang, it's like, but I could hold my own. I beat up a couple, not literally beat them up, but I
Yeah.
beat them on the course. And yeah, it was fun, a lot of fun. But I'm not doing that as much these days.
I've only talked to one person ever that had anything to do with that show or tried or whatever, and he said that like the strength in your grip.
Oh yeah, yeah. You like your
un-
hands.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it's like everything else. You have to have it. I mean, the amount of pull-ups you have to be able to do, basically, to even attempt that show is, and then
Yeah.
these muscles in your forearms and wrists.
It's
and
all
grip.
it's all forearms, wrist, and it's your finger strength. Like
Yeah.
I have in my basement, I took pieces of 2x4, and I had them where like you got the 2 digits here,
Yeah.
and they got progressively skinnier. So I have one that's only 5/8 of an inch. So you're literally just using that one bone right there, and you're just holding on it. And I would do time trials. Where like, all right, 90 seconds, like get down, and your fingers are stuck like that. You're like, you're trying to bend them back out, and yeah, it's a lot of it's a ligament.
Yeah.
A lot of that
That's
strength.
what those rock climbers do so well, because
Yeah.
they've ingrained that into their. I mean, they got years of doing that, and
Yeah.
anytime that someone's like, "Oh, he's been professionally rock climbing for 10 years," I'm like, "He's gonna do well." And then they typically like that little peg thing, the little zigzag. I'm like,
Pegboards, salmon ladder.
you watch that and like you can see the rock climbers crush that, and then you see anybody else is like, you haven't been rock climbing enough to do that.
The salmon ladder one where you got to take the bar and you jump it up the rungs.
Oh yeah.
I built one in my backyard when I was getting into it, and I think it was like on Veterans Day or sometime. I had my phone out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this out, and I got up 2 rungs and I missed, and I went right on the ground. Like I didn't have like pads or anything like that. I just knocked the wind right out of me.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, I gotta find somebody with an old twin mattress I can throw outside.
that'll humble you real quick. That's it's funny because talk about fitness and different branches and stuff. I've always, because the Marines do, is it hands out pull-ups, right? Or
it doesn't matter. Well, when I did it, it didn't matter. It was 20 pull-ups. So I would start wide grip. So your chin has to come across the bar, right?
Right.
There's rules. Like I heard game the system, where you find out the rules and find out how you can stretch it, right? So you have to lock your elbows out. You have to have a straight arm, and then your chin has to pass the bar. So first you tilt your chin as high as you can go, right? So there's no reason to have your hand like this.
Distance.
Yep, exactly. So I went as wide as I could go, and it was like just barely moving, get as many as I could out that way, and usually I could get my 20 in that way. But if you fall short within 1 or 2, then you can turn around and reverse that grip and use a different muscle group that way. Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
Now they've changed it to they have push-ups now and all kinds of stuff. It's not like the old core.
Well, they have that combat fitness test thing that I think they added it once a year. That's funny. Everybody has that. When I was in, that's what hits the name of the podcast.
Back in my, you know what? I didn't have hot water when I went through basic training. 3rd Battalion. There was no hot water on in our buildings, and when we went to weapons training, got our rifle quals, like hot water. Oh my god, we had hot water for a week and a half, and that was it.
There you go. It's always the joke. Why does it take 5 Rangers to change a light bulb? Is one change the light bulb, the other 4 to tell about how hard it used to be. So it's so true.
Yeah. I haven't been back down to PI. I want to get down there, like show my family what it's like, but it's all different now. I guess it's been bulldozed down. I had a mosquito.
That's all.
Try to get them. They bulldozed it down, built a new barracks with hot water and stuff. It's like these kids these days.
You don't know how good it was. Hard. I remember wearing.
I'm gonna get this mosquito eventually.
Wearing
Yeah,
BDUs
so
and having to poop in the woods during training exercises. And later on, I go back when I became an officer. I went back. I'm like, porta johns. There's no porta johns in Iraq.
mm,
That's not how this
yeah.
works. So it's pretty funny. So what's next for you? I know you've been doing the photography thing for a long time, but is it still doing that, or what's your next aspiration? I saw
Yeah,
you invented, so let's talk about that.
yeah, so I'm making a transition, and I invented a product for kids, and it's soon, well, I wouldn't say soon, I won't give myself a timeline, but it's gonna be for adults eventually. But yeah, it's called Tadpole Swimsuit. So one day when I was on vacation with the family, sitting by the pool, got the wading pool, it's probably like 3, 4 feet deep, and then there's always that 1 foot section for like the little kids.
Oh yeah,
And I'm sitting there right on that transition spot. Margarita next to me, my wife's sunning herself, my daughter's splashing around. She's 4 years, older than my son, and my son's 18 months. He's like right next to me. I'm like looking at my phone, just kind of chilling out in the sunny day, and then he just makes a leap of faith, trying to go out where Sissy is at,
of course.
and I look at him like I don't like dive in. I just see him, but he's all like not moving, with his eyes
I've
are as
made
big
a
as
terrible
saucers.
decision.
Yeah. It's like how's that working out for you? Reach in, grab him out, and I'm thinking like, dang, I was like, there's got to be a better way. It's like the little kids want to do what the big kids are doing.
Oh yeah,
They don't want to sit in that donut thing and like splash around and kind of like not have control. Or what is
right.
the other option? Water wings, where
Yeah,
they teach them how to like tread in a forward motion. It's like that's not
how you swim.
actually doing anything either. So I was like, all right, what if there was something out there? It couldn't have been a suit or anything, but it could take buoyancy and spread it across the whole body. And I have a little background in like triathlon. I've done that, and
Yeah,
wearing a wetsuit, and people say like, oh, the neoprene, it adds buoyancy, so you don't have to like try as hard. And I'm like, all right, well that kind of works, but you can't change it for a kid because everything's binary. So it's like you're either wearing the swim aid or you're not.
right.
So I created a suit that has 24 pockets from head to toe, front and back, and it evenly distributes the buoyancy compensation, and it's modular. So you can start taking out the buoyancy one pocket at a time as they actually learn how to swim.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so I created that. Actually, so it was going into 2020 when I started this, because my wife's like, I'm so sick of this, hearing you talk about your ideas. So can you just like make one already? Because creative background, I do a lot of talking, but never do a lot of action on it. And so all right, fine. You know what? I will. I'll go ahead and make this swimsuit thing. Had a prototype done in January. Got custom made for my son, tailor fit, and they gave me the working prototype at the end of February. And it took a couple tries to go to the school pool, get it figured out. March 6th is when I had the proof of concept with my son. Like I got video of him like in the pool and it working. I'm like, yes, this is the greatest thing ever. And then a few days later, world shuts down. It's like, all right, shelve this idea. Let's not lose my business. Let's not lose my house and all that good fun stuff. Fast forward to like what, 22? Yeah, 2022 is when I started like feeling confident again. It's like, all right, maybe I should just start working on it again. And just this past August, got 20 prototypes put together and sampled them and given them out to friends and family and testing it over and over again. And and I went to the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans headquarters. They had a Patriot Boot Camp just a couple weeks ago. Somebody on LinkedIn had seen what I was doing, and like, oh my gosh, you'd be a shoe-in for this, because like, can you make it in the spring or the fall? I'm like, no, it's wedding season. We're like, oh, how about next week? It's like, I guess so. Yeah, let's make it happen. Yeah, so I got squeezed in there, and just through some of the other members of the cohort, came up across your podcast, and here I am. So it's funny how things work out.
Small world. LinkedIn's a crazy world. How you run into people and you never know. So where are you at in development? Still, are you still in kind of an R&D phase, or what?
I have my first retail order from a local pool shop right up the road from my studio. So this guy ordered 40 suits. He's gotten 10 boys and 10 girls for the 3-year-olds, and 10 boys and 10 girls for the 4 and 5. And the 4 and 5-year-old one I haven't quite finished yet. So I'm working with my manufacturer to get those details figured out. And
so is there a website for it or anything? Or?
Yeah, yep.
What is it?
Shameless plug, tadpoleswimsuit.com.
All right.
And find me on all the socials at tadpoleswimsuit.
Okay.
Yeah, people are like, oh, you patent. I did the patent, the provisional patent, and all that stuff back during COVID, and yeah, so it's patent pending, and it's
He's
great.
patent pending for
I'm really
20 years.
oh, they're so
Let's,
backlogged. Like just getting my trademark just with the cartoon logo, they're like that's gonna be 15 months. I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
takes
So I'm just
forever.
gonna start getting them. I'm gonna put them out there and save lives. Because like the one thing I didn't even really think about was like the rate that kids actually drown. So it's actually
Hmm.
the number one cause of death in
Yep.
America for kids 4 and under,
Yep.
and it's number 2 for kids 5 to 10. One being car accidents.
Yeah.
So in the rate of it is like 2.5 a day. So every 2 days we got 5 kids in America drowning, which
Wow.
is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's super sad. Um, and I feel like I've got like a social imperative to get my ass in gear and get
Yeah.
this thing going. So yeah, I'm doing that. And then I'm trying to be like a socially conscious entrepreneur. So for every
Yeah.
9, then see,
It's
I'm a
over
Marine.
three.
I have no aim. You know what I mean? So for every 9 that I sell, I'm giving one away. And
Okay.
it's usually going to be to a disenfranchised segment of the community.
Awesome.
So in my research of learning about like human history and swimming and all that, I read a book called Why We Swim by
Hmm.
Bonnie Sue.
Hmm.
And she actually touches on the American history and like the 40s and 50s and segregation and stuff like that. So right now, there's like the stereotype like black people can't swim.
Yeah.
And actually, if you go all over the world, they can swim phenomenally well and
Yeah.
better than a lot of us white
Oh, yeah.
European people. And in America, it stems back to this segregation where they opened up public pools, and
Right.
these disgruntled, white owners would drain the pools. They call it
Yeah.
white flight. They would, the
Oh,
white
yeah.
community would leave. They go into disrepair. Some people would get acid thrown on them.
Yep.
So now, because great grandma and grandma never learned to swim, it went generation by generation, and
Yep.
now we're stuck with the stereotype. And even though like my ancestors weren't directly responsible for that, I feel like I need to contribute in some way to help right that wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do what I can with
That's
that
great.
too. And I don't want that to be.
We're not far from that. It's only two or three generations back, which is crazy.
Yeah,
So,
I know, and it's like, and I don't want that to be like a selling point for Sue. Like I literally want to like just
yeah.
make the sales, bring it in, and then literally just give a bunch away to somebody
Yeah.
who knows what part of that community could benefit from it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And just like
Absolutely.
go do your thing, and yeah, let that be that.
That's awesome. That's a great motivation and goal to do. And so if you're listening, by all means, and we all know somebody who has a kid, and I'm very personally attached to that because my son's autistic, like I said earlier, and I think it was 2016 or 17. I may be off by a year, but there were, I think, 17 autistic children that died in America, and they were all under the age of 10, and every single one of them drowned.
That's horrible.
And what there was one story, it was a tragic story up in Tennessee, and they're having a birthday party for the autistic kid's sibling, and everyone turned around like, where'd he go? And like obviously that sheer parent panic kicked in, and they dispersed her across the neighborhood, and they found next to a riverbed his shoes and his iPad, and then a mile down the road is his body, obviously, and it's tragic. And I was like, it's the exact same age as my son, had the same shoes as my son at the time. My son went everywhere with his iPad. I'm like, this is too close to home. And I ended up spending thousands of dollars on one-on-one lessons to get him to know how to swim. Because I'm like, this is how it's going to happen. There's a creek bed behind my house at the time. And I live in DC. I'm like, how do I have a creek bed? The only creek bed in all of DC. It's behind my house. And,
George Washington probably crossed it.
I probably the small canoe, but I mean that's how you make the news in the wrong way, and so there's definitely a need out there for people who can't speak for themselves. So I think you have a great product that would we'll talk more later, I'm sure, about that. But
yeah, it's like I was gonna say, well, like, what if like learning how to swim was just as easy as play? Like when you bring your son to the playground, you're not like giving a lesson like, here's how a swing set works, here's how monkey. You're just like, go on, kid, burn this energy. Like, get away from me for a second.
Here's how dirt works. Go.
Yeah. So like, I feel like it's just not only empowering for the kid, like giving them confidence, it's empowering for the parents too. Because I feel a lot of parents are nervous around water and they're like, oh my God, I got to get like swim lessons and pay this person who's an authority in this space and whatever.
Right.
But it's like the parents can have their power back, like,
Right.
something as simple as a suit like this, and get in there with them and have at it and make it fun.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's like, it's been really, like, knock on wood. It's
a lot of wood.
It's not a fake background. Yeah. It shouldn't be as easy as it is. And it has been. And I had a prototype made up for myself because I would say of everybody I talked to about the suit, 1 in 4 will ask me, well, do you make it for grownups?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, not yet. So I had a prototype made up for myself and did testing on it. And it was awesome. I mean, It was everything how I expect it to be.
Yeah.
And like, out of everybody who asked me, of all the people who asked me if I make it for grownups, half of those asked me, have I thought about helping out people with special needs or disabled veterans, people missing limbs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So this application is
it's a long list of people that need it for sure. And what's interesting is, being tied back to the military is, the Marines, y'all do a water fitness test, right? Or y'all can't?
Like I said, I have a combat water survival class 1.
Right. But it's like, when I was in OCS to be an officer, like we all had to jump off the, whatever it was, platform, full gear, and all that stuff and get out of it. And like, that was a problem. But it wasn't just a race thing. It was just in general, probably 5 people from our 180 person class literally could not swim. Yeah. And they were petrified of that day. I mean, you could see them, it's like, I may actually drown. Like, I don't know what to do, and then someone like me, I grew up in the woods, and I don't have a memory not being in the water, with full clothes on and cowboy boots or whatever else. So I was like, jumping in the pool is like, so this is what I did on a Tuesday when I was 4. Like, this is no big deal.
It's like no big deal if you're in that environment. Yeah.
But like someone else, their career is pending on making this jump and not drowning, and so I think there's definitely a, long range, big picture thing is recruitment's a problem right now. And if people are like, hey, I can't swim, like maybe that's in the back of their mind, they don't want to do it. You never know. Yeah,
like I said, it's a confidence booster for sure. So it's not to make lightly of the water survival training and stuff like that. We actually had we as in the Marine Corps had a recruit drown when I was stationed at Parris Island.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. It was all over the news back in.
It happens. It's, I mean, the Navy SEALs are known for that with buds and everything. Like, I mean, there's a great video. I think it's on the opening of Lone Survivor, the actual footage of his course. Like, we're going to introduce you to a thing called not being able to breathe. It's like you watch them, and I mean, and we see stuff all the time. Accidents happen during training all the time. So
when I went through the class 1, that's when we were doing like hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff underwater, and their instructors are trying to drown you.
Right.
And it came pretty close to the brink. They're like, "Don't worry, if you suck up water, we'll pull you back up and resuscitate you." I'm like, what? But it never got quite that far. But I was like, when you're doing training, you're like, you're trying to tap out, and like when you're in water, you're like. I'm tapping. You can't feel that. Please let go of me.
It's like slow motion fighting.
Yeah, it's literally slow motion fighting, and they can't feel the tapping. Very scary.
Then a tapper, I grab him right, sure, hold him down longer. See what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the floating my BDUs just like rubbing up against me. Like, I can't tell. Yeah.
Well, Michael, man, this has been a lot of fun. You got definitely a lot going on, and for those that are listening and out there, by all means, check out his suit. We all know somebody who has a kid that can't swim. I mean, we're all 1 degree away from that, and it's a great cause you have going on. And if you're up in the New York area and you got a wedding or something going on, I'm sure Michael would mind your business for a photo session. So I'll have to
I'll take whatever I can get, right?
Teach me how to use my Nikon D90 a little better. So it's an old camera, but it's great.
I'm a Canon fanboy. Sorry, man.
So it's all good. So, well, cool, man. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Again, if you're new to the show, by all means, subscribe, and we'll get you on the next episode. If you want to be a guest, please check me out on WOMACC3.com, and we'll love to have you here as a guest.